So here we are in the mental training section, and it's kind of interesting to me that the first strategy that I'll talk about really has nothing to do with mental training at all, and it's actually a physiological technique or strategy, and that's to be more attuned with our breathing. We just kind of take for granted on a daily basis that we're going to breathe. We don't tend to spend much time thinking about it. But especially in high stress environments, we can be affected negatively. We get tight physically, and when we get tight physically, our breathing is affected. And so when that happens, our performance is going to go down. So the strengths of a breathing strategy are that it's so easy to incorporate with just a little bit of practice, and it doesn't take that much time, especially considering the amount of benefit that we can get out of doing it. But we need to be regular in our practice in order to get efficient and effective at it. And by regular, that means trying it and practicing it at least a couple times per day and doing that for 8 weeks or 2 months. But at that point, again, with very, very little input, very, very little investment, we're able to kind of reap the benefits from that practice even after just about 2 months. And there's several different strategies, kind of depends who you listen to or what appeals most to you. There's a 4-4-4 strategy that's advocated by some. That's where you breathe into a count of 4 and then hold to a count of 4 and then exhale to a count of 4. Dr. Andrew Weil has what he calls the 4-7-8 method, which is even more elongated in terms of the amount of time holding your breath and exhaling. That 4-7-8 method is inhale to 4, hold to a count of 7, and then exhale to a count of 8. But I think it's important to kind of recognize that there's some tactical populations, military primarily, who really advocate strongly against any breathing strategy that asks you to hold your breath, because their belief is that if you have any component where you're training or teaching people to hold their breath when you get into a very, very high tension or high stress environment like military combat, for instance, that if you've trained people at any phase to hold their breath, that's what they're going to do when the stress gets super high. So I coined a 406 method, which just eliminates that holding of the breath phase in the middle. So you inhale to 4 and then very, very quickly transition to an exhale of 6. It resonates here, Montana area code 406. So it's kind of easy to remember, I think. But again, it addresses that component of holding your breath in the middle and eliminates that. But truthfully, you can also just practice, 10 repetitions of taking deep breaths. Just inhale, exhale at whatever feels comfortable or normal to you, and do that 10 or 15 times. Again, the key is to practice it regularly, and that means at least a couple times per day and for a period of about 2 months. But if you're willing to commit to that, then fairly quickly your body and your systems learn how to benefit from that. And so when you do take just simply 1 or 2 breaths, that can elicit the response that you're looking for without having to go through the entire cycle. But again, just like most things, it takes time and it takes practice. But you'll probably be amazed at just how effective and how calming and centering that breathing strategy can be if you're just willing to give it a little bit of time and effort.